sometimes even hospitals, if you may take it, need more nurses or doctors. You go to a hospital and then you are told that the doctor just closed, so you have to wait for 8 hours, or you will be coming tomorrow. Will you consider, under the 24-hour economy, although the MPP hyped Agenda 111 and the president told us in his State of the Nation address that they were able to complete, the former president, they were able to complete only 3. Will you consider bringing them on board and ensuring that the 24-hour economy will make you bring in all the nurses and doctors and staff that are needed, and that you will divide the long hours being spent by this health staff to about maybe 8 hours each, so that they run shift and then they are able to attend to our people? Will you consider looking at that? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, yes, I will consider so, given the fact that we have a responsibility to create jobs and to employ our young people in these areas. Thank you.
Congratulations once more, and I wish you all the best. Be guided.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I move to Ritana Odolesoa. Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I wish to congratulate Honorable Rashid, my senior brother, for his nomination by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. Honorable nominee, there are lots of people out there looking for jobs, but sometimes we find out that children are used for certain jobs. My area of concern is children who are especially sent to go fishing, where they abandon their education. What do you intend to do about that? Thank you.
Our labor law is against child labor, and so we are going to be up and doing to ensure that the right things are done. Children are not engaged in doing adults' work. Children are not young adults. They are children. We have to respect that. We have to bring them up to grow to be responsible adults, and not to degrade them by putting so much heavy load on them whilst they are still supposed to be learning. And so it is something that we can work on. It's a key area of our enterprise in the labor industry.
Thank you. You have more questions. Please go ahead and ask.
Thank you, Chairman. And before my other question, I believe we have to take a serious look at it, because when you go to the fishing communities, these activities are ongoing. Honorable nominee, in the area of employment, we have the private sector also supporting government in employing our people. But one area that is of keen interest to me is the private security. People are employed, but sometimes they are not paid according to the minimum wage. And I want to find out from you what you intend to do regarding these private security companies. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think that if we agree on a minimum wage, the law is that it cuts across every organization. You shouldn't pay below that minimum wage. So if we find anybody doing so, you'll be subject to questioning. And if you violate the law, will be prosecuted. We may not prosecute you, but it's important for you, for us to take it up to the levels where the right things are done. Ghanaians should not be cheated. We know how much the minimum wage is, just about 18.5 Ghana cedis. And if you can pay up to that, then it will bring many, many questions on your kind of organization. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. On this note, I wish to congratulate you. A lot have been said about you, and that is very true, your temperament, and I know you are going to take that into the ministry and ensure that you are going to work well with His Excellency and the people of the Republic of Ghana. God bless you.
Thank you.
Honourable members, fortified by Standing Order 2177, I proceed to recognize Deputy Whip.
Thank you, Chairman. Alaji, congratulations. I think I will also join my colleagues to say that you've been not only a leader but a father to many of us in the chamber. Chairman, my question to him, I intend not to ask you a question because you are a six-time member of parliament, a former leader of parliament, a former minister, you know, you have it all. But there was some news that I cited in some section of the media to the effect that you said youth who are unemployed in our country can go and cut grass where they breed animals or gather stones and sell where there are buildings. I want a clarification. In which context did you say so? And the first question should be if actually you said so, and if yes, in which context?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if this question were not asked, I wouldn't have been happy at all. Mr. Chairman, I was at Newsfile. I think it was 2015 or so, and Ghana was getting hot. Campaigning was on for the elections, 2016 general elections. I went to Newsfile and I was asked a question. It was about job creation and about getting people to be employed. I explained that whilst I was coming, I met a specialist, and he explained to me that everybody can work. And when he said so, he cited those examples. He said that if people are not employed, if people want to be employed, they can be employed on their own. Even if they have no education, they have no skill, they could still work. And he cited the example of a person living close to a place where buildings are being constructed. And he said, if you live within that space, that area, and you feel you are unemployed, you can create a job for yourself. He didn't say graduates, because I heard people saying, I said graduates. I never said that. So that person said, for persons who are unskilled and not educated, and you live close to a place where construction is taking place, you could gather the stones there. You could gather stones there. At the time, stones were, the trip of stones was about 1,200 Ghana cedis. And he said if you did so, those stones could be sold and you earn something for yourself. And then he also said that if you live in a place where there are breeding animals, with such a person as I described, you could also cut grasses and sell to those people and you will earn something. In this sense, that single person who has no education and no skill can still be employed by himself. So I cited that, and then they captured the part I was explaining that alone and used it a lot. I realized I saw it a lot in the 2016 campaign against NDC, that I said they should go and cut grasses, graduates should go and cut grasses and then, collect stones and all that. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, I know what I was talking about. And when I realized that people were misunderstanding and misusing it, I was looking for the full tape to play so people can see what I was saying. And I was also looking for the gentleman who gave me that idea to come to Joy News or Joy FM and speak about it. The man cannot be found. So when I saw him the other time, I said, you gave me this idea, I brought it up, and then I'm running into problems. You won't come and explain. You know, I wish he were here. He's. Do you want me to call his name? You were there when I was blaming him the other time at Alaji's house. So, Mr. Speaker, it is simply not the case that I'm saying graduates should do so. I was just quoting somebody and trying to encourage my Ghanaian fellows that if you are a nurse and you have the skill, you are better off. You go to a community where there are no nurses, you can set up something on your own. If you know, if you have money and you go to a town where vehicles are not sold, you can buy vehicles and send them for sale. If you go to a place where there's a particular product that the people consume a lot, you can go and produce that product and send it there. That's a bigger form of it. That was just a basic example. Other examples could take place. If you go to a place where there are no computers, you can send computers there for sale. If you go to a place where people don't have electronic knowledge about anything, you can go and set up an industry there. It is to give perspective to the Ghanaian workforce, so we can find within ourselves the capacity and the means to earn a living. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Yeah, Chairman, just a follow-up on this one. Your explanation is clear. And then now I think you being sent to a ministry that will definitely have a responsibility of job creation, workers' welfare, and the rest. Will you consider the grass cutting and the stone gathering as part of the 24-hour economy to help reduce unemployment?
Honorable nominee, I wonder if you can cut grass in the night, but I will give you the floor.
Mr. Speaker, you know, somebody called me from his constituency the last time and said, you said something and people misunderstood you. And he said, I swear to you, I'm now a graduate because I grew up and saw my father carrying leaves for sale. I grew up and as a student, I work on it, and it has helped me, and I'm a student. I'm a graduate from his constituency. But this is not the kind of 24-hour economy we are talking about. We are talking about every enterprise that will require work to produce resource, and you know that within the 24-hour period, you will still need to continue to work. Our policy is to support you to do so, to energize you to do so, to find the kind of incentive for you to be able to function properly and effectively, create more opportunity and produce more. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, my
last question.
No, I only ask one and this follow-up. So, Chairman, my question is the government, whether the government have any intention to increase salaries of public workers in 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's one of the key areas under negotiation right now, and I will be able to respond to it when I get into the ministry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, I won't ask any third question except to say that we wish you well, and we know you continue to guide us as you guide us. You always show leadership. Even coming back to the 9th Parliament, I was surprised because my sister Hajia Humo put a very spirited fight to take you off, but at the end of the day, you still show that you are a leader. But we beg you, don't come back again. Let Hajia Humo come back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Under the same provision in our standing order, I recognize Jerry Shaib.
Thank you very much, my very respected chairman. Mr. Chairman, just a follow-up on Honorable Ritana Odeleso's issue on child labor. So we have about 160 million children involved in child labor globally. In Ghana, as we speak now, the percentage for child population between 5 to 17 years, it's about 21%, which is alarming. I recently watched a documentary on CNN, and it was somewhere in the Volta region, and it was specifically about fishing. I want to know, first of all, what accounts for this problem of child labor, in your view? And how do you practically intend to provide some solid solutions to child labor? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, a few years ago, Chairman Sir Bonsu was still our majority leader. There emerged a problem with the European Union. The government wanted to address the problem. Chairman Sir was asked to lead a group. He, along with my minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, were asked to go and to solve the problem. One of the key areas was that they won't buy our cocoa because we use child labor. We are transferring money into the European Union illegally, and etc., etc. So I went with the two plus three other members of parliament, and we went to the European Union. Their key concern was with the issue of child labor. One of the solutions, one of the explanations we gave was that in Ghana, when a man is going to farm, they take their children and they go to work. When you go to see them, you don't say they are engaged in child labor. If a man is a blacksmith and then he goes, or let me say, a plumber, and he's going to work, sometimes he gets the child to carry his things if he's on holidays, and they go and work and then come back. Now it is a work culture, and that has progressed into present work conditions where people take their children to work. But beyond that is the fact that sometimes people particularly go for children and take them to rivers and sea to go and look for fish in very, very traumatic conditions. And I mean, tragic conditions, because sometimes they die and sometimes they beat them. Growing up becomes a problem. So it is part of the labor law, 2003 labor law 651, that we need to eliminate child labor in our workforce, and we need to make it a criminal offense so that nobody can do it and go free without reason, any reason at all that will be given by the violator of using child labor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So definitely I will make sure it becomes a priority area in my commitment to create any value at the ministry. Thank you.
Honourable members, I was part of that delegation, and it was interesting to note that from the European Union Parliament to visit our ambassador, we saw a child and a father on a tractor plowing at Brussels. Thank you very much. Do you have any other question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I should have mentioned you because you were a key member of that group of people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My very respected Honorable Minister-designate, do you have a government land? Have you acquired a government land?
Mr. Chairman, whilst I was the ranking member for lands and forestry, at the end of, during the 4 years, we were informed that every single time the land committee was operating, at the end of the period, the lands commission would salute you, thank you by giving you a piece of land. So they offered us a piece of land. I have not acquired it yet. It's about some 4 years now. I have made attempts to acquire it. They are saying they will do the papers for me. I haven't got the papers yet. But I hope that if I make the necessary effort, I would acquire it. Thank you.
And I agree with you. I don't think it's a problem to have it lease engrossed in your name for the period you served on whichever committee you claim. Just my last question. We've had issues of foreigners in our workspace, and the complaints that we numerously get is the maltreatment to the Ghanaian people who are working for most of these foreigners. One of which is harassing them, another is beating them, another is underpaying them, and all manner of maltreatment. Is there any assurance from you that these people under your watch are going to be safer and better off wherever they are finding themselves? Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, human rights is one of the areas I particularly show direct interest. In fact, when I even watch television and I see people suffering elsewhere, it hurts me. And right in my own country, it is something I will want to enforce, that people must have rights to work, they must have right to safety, workplace abuses must not happen, it's against the law and should not happen. So in whatever way I can do to make sure we eliminate it, I will do it. So I have a personal attachment to safetyness and and the rights of people wherever they are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I then proceed to give the floor to Honorable Alasan Umar.
Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Alhaji, congratulations. I know with your demeanor and gentility, the Labor Ministry is going to be very calm, even though you're going to see a lot of agitations. My question to you is in relation to our manifesto, the resetting agenda. If you look at, I think, pages 26, it talks about National Employment Trust. And this National Employment Trust will fund SMEs operating 24-hour in the following sectors. All what I want to know is, are you prepared to help His Excellency implement this? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, His Excellency has great vision for this country, and I'm prepared, definitely, to be part of it, and I'm happy I'm being considered to be part of it. So the answer is yes.
Thank you, and I wish you well.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mahama Shaibu.
Chairman, let me thank you for the opportunity. Honorable Dr. Alhaj, my senior bro, congratulations. A well-deserved nomination Many on this table have recounted your very good attributes. Indeed, trust that I want to ask a question about integrity and your competence that you have earned and you have bagged it. What many don't know, and indeed the NDC needs to celebrate you, is that today, just like religion, that many people fought for religion that we worship freely today. Religion that we worship freely today. You carry education institutions network called TAIN. Many in NDC do not know that you are the brain behind the formation of TAIN. I want to put it on record today that you ought and you deserve to be celebrated. I was happy many years ago to have worked under you as an executive when you were forming TAIN on the campus of University of Cape Coast. Thank you so much for that. We have said a lot. My learned friend Patrick took it through Act 651 on the harmonizing and then harassment. Let me move away from there briefly. My other learned colleague brought it to the labor front in terms of harassment by foreign entrepreneurs. Now let's go back to the external. In recent times, you will have companies advertising for labor for people to be sent abroad for greener pastures. Indeed, there are many of them dotted on the internet. Some you cannot even trace to their offices. Now, innocent Ghanaians will normally apply, pay huge sums of money. Now, for some, apart from being duped or defrauded, the unfortunate ones who will find their way out to these so-called greener pastures are subjected to horrifying conditions. And footages on social media for the past 3 years would show horrifying accounts of some Ghanaians who, in the name of labor, going for greener pastures, people take them there, they don't know what to do. They get there, their passports are confiscated, and they are subjected to various forms of
Honorable question, please.
Honorable Minister nominee, I know this has been brought to your attention, or you have stated. Please tell us what you will do, what policy you would put in place to curb or curtail this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have already indicated that Act 651 2003 labor law is very categorical in pointing out that child labor is unacceptable within the province and working environment in this country is not allowed. So the policy you are asking for will be defined in accordance with the principle of law stated very clearly in that respect. And I will want to make sure we enforce it to the letter, to the logical conclusion where people who are cited doing so will be punished in accordance with the law. So it will serve as warning to any other person who would be thinking of doing so, or who would be involved in doing in such a practice. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Nominee, organized labor in recent times has not been that organized. Agitations here and there. Not sure whether it is a legislation problem or a question of practicality. You have studied the labor law. I know you have gone through it. What areas do you think are worth noting and looking at in response to organized labor? Thank you.
I think that it's normal in the stream of things to find people agitating for more, because society is dynamic, changes occur all the time. The wealth of the city fluctuates. So as we go along, people are found not to be getting the worth of their input, so there are agitations and requests to increase and all that. So these things are normal, they will happen all the time. What we would do is to understand this trend of affairs, first of all, and then to now tackle the issues as and when they present themselves. It will not be easy to give any firm response to it at this particular instance. Thank you.
Chairman, let me wish the honorable nominee Allah's blessings and Allah's guidance in your new role. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, I proceed to give the floor to Honorable George Kwaku Riget Hagan, Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to add my voice in congratulating my brother, Dr. Rashid Pelpuo. Doc, congratulations. I'm going to just take you back just one question, and then maybe there'll be a follow-up if there need be. And I want to take you back to where Patrick left off in terms of the Act 766, which is that established the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Now, I'm talking about the supervisory role of MPRA. You know, MPRA is supposed to be the supervisor of all the pension, schemes and institutions, including SNIT. SNIT was actually set up before the MPRA. Recent events that we are all aware that happened, at SNIT, which is quite unfortunate, in an attempt to offload some of its assets. And it looks as if the regulator hasn't really got the muscle to provide its, supervisory role. Would you tell us what you will do to make sure that MPRA assume its rightful role of being the regulator of the pensions industry, including SNIT, which has obviously been around since inception and seems to be the bigger player in the industry? Thank you.
Well, the law has given MPRA a complete power of regulation of the operations of pensions, the scheme, at all levels, tier 1, 2, 3. And so I don't know what I can say beyond the law that function that provides it to produce those functions that it operates with. So I will only say that when I get in there with your approval, I'm going to study further the issues to see whether it's exercising its full role or not, and if there are any lapses, whatever can be done to help us, repair those lapses. I will definitely help to do it. It has to function as a regulator, and that function cannot be undermined and should not be undermined by anybody. Thank you.
Okay, then my other question, I was going to make it a follow-up, but I think I should make it a second question. And that is to do again with the Act. Since the new Pensions Act actually started, and because of the ratios that were done, SNIT now gets less money than it used to when it was dominant, the only and the dominant player in the industry. As a result of that, the contributions that come to SNIT looks like it's actually not adequate to pay for pensions, though it gets invested, to pay for people who are on retirement today. And that figure seems to be going down. And I think there had been, ILO had said that if care is not taken in the next 5 to 10 years, the payment of pension will become a difficult area for people who have gone on retirement. What is your view on that? I don't want to say opinion. What is your view on that, and what would you try and do when you get to the ministry to make sure that that issue is addressed? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, even before I take office, this thing was brought to my attention. I have investigated. I invited somebody to discuss it with me. He disputed the fact that Senate is going down. He explained to me that at this very moment, Senate is beginning, payments of pensioners have matured and they are spending money. So the overall cash element of Senate is coming down. But also that because of the reducing value of the CD, it has an effect on the totality of the money that is available, the worth of it. But he said as they're paying and retiring people, more people are getting in, so Senate will not go down. But unfortunately, it does appear to me Senate is no longer part of the Ministry of Labor, Jobs and Employment. And so I will maybe work with the Minister for Finance so we can ensure that no lapses occur in that. Thank you.
Follow up on that. So let's get it clear. MPRA is still under labor, jobs and employment, and SLATE is under finance. Is that your understanding?
Yes, that is it.
No further question. I'm sure you will find out when you get there what the situation with our pension is. And I know and I trust that you will be able to resolve the problem. You have the demeanor, the calmness, the diplomacy, you know, the temperament and everything that we, you know, earlier people who asked you questions have mentioned. We all know that. And I have no doubt in my mind that you'll be able to deal with labor issues and all the things that come with it. I wish you well, and congratulations again, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will now give the floor to the Deputy Minority Leader, Deputy Ranking Member, and now available ranking.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm taking this opportunity to congratulate I'll call him my mentor. If anybody has been interested in my progress and my work in Parliament, I will name one person, that is Honorable Pelpuo, who has always been encouraging me, dragging me to committees, especially with the population census. We started together, and he was always encouraging me to do what is right and encouraging me to take up certain path. And I'm very grateful for that kind of encouragement. But we'll just have some few conversations as we move ahead. Because there are aspects of your life that people must know over there. Then I'm looking at your CV. And looking at your CV, I have one very interesting question for you. Honorable, you are a Muslim. Should I confirm that from you? Are you a Muslim?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Since this is a house of record, I just saw on your CV that you are married without telling me whether it's 1, 2, or 3, or whether you're going to add me to the bunch that are already out there. And so you are married. And how many wives do you have, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two wives in my life.
Thank you very much. And you are sure the 6 children are all the declared properties you have? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I have 5 from one very committed, dedicated woman, a lawyer, and the second one from another one who is also a very committed, dedicated lady.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nomni. Honorable Nomni, I also noticed that you can speak so many languages, about 4 languages, about 4, and you have rightly described them, because I don't think I've ever heard you speak French. But you indicated it's a fair spoken, but you also wrote that you can read and write. But you use the word fair. Right. How fair is your French in terms of writing, the writing of French and then the speaking of it?
Yeah, I studied French in secondary school up to a point. But when I was reading my master's for international affairs, I chose French as a language of study. So I have fair knowledge of French, just fair.
This is on the lighter side. I'm looking at your publications. You have written very interesting books. The first one is The True Meaning of Life, and the second one is a review of the George Orwell's Animal Farm and Chinua Achebe's Man of the People. I'm sure most of us here have gone through the phase of reading these books. Would you like to share the import of all these publications? I think it will be a very interesting for us all to know. Thank you very much, each of them. Thank you.
Well, True Meaning of Life is a collection of poems. I write a lot of poems. It's my first publication on the poetry I write. I pick it from the political life of Ghanaians, political life of the people I meet. Poetry is about inspiration and recount of the inspiration in manners that you believe will be comported, but if read, can be expanded in the minds of people. So I have written about philosophy, the philosophy of life in the book, poetry, poems on that, about love, about Africa, and the challenges we face as a people. Those are all captured in poetry and are in that book. I can give. The book has been studied, has been reviewed and approved for the years. I sent it to them, they reviewed it, and it's been approved for years. It's just that I haven't gone ahead to get it published and spread in that direction. Then the next one you mentioned is about the George Orwell and then Chinua Achebe's Man of the People. If you look at it, you say you write is Rashid Pelpuo et al., meaning with others, with somebody else. Because of my deep love of poetry, of the arts, I've read a lot, and in those books you will find that each of them treats a life of society from the political perspective, and how that when you read it, it shapes up in defining how society looks like. So I picked it out from there, and then got the political sphere they point to, and then this other guy who I worked with also put the artistic value in it, and so you have an article published in one of the best journals in the world.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
On page 2 of your CV, I would say the third item, which is the international appointments and positions. I noticed that you are still holding the position of the African Parliamentarian Forum on Population and Development. And then you are still also holding on the Clover Climate Alliance position. What does that mean in terms of your current appointment? Does it mean you are going to step down, or you still hold the position, or you are going to make a recommendation for some members of Parliament to continue the good works which you have done? Thank you.
Yeah, on the African Parliamentarians Forum on Population and Development, I was elected in Ethiopia in 2022. It's an elective position, and it involved almost all African countries involved who sent their representatives, and I presented myself, first elected as the West African president, and then I got onto the African scene and was elected as the president for African Parliamentarians Forum. But it's a 3-year term and ends this year. I don't hope to continue. I don't hope to contest again. I will encourage somebody else to contest. In fact, I won it for the rest of West Africa, not just for Ghana. I was elected as presented by West Africa. I contested the elections and won. So if I'm not the president now, possibly the president is going to come from South Africa, because at a point they stepped down for me. They could have challenged me, but after presentations and all the others, they decided not to contest me. So possibly they will come on board. The president will come from South Africa, possibly. So, but the other one, I was appointed an envoy for Africa for climate change in Egypt at the Climate Change Festival or conference, and it was just for 2 years. So, but I have to appoint. Yeah, so I've given up that one. It's no longer going to be a bother to me at all.
Thank you for your explanation. And Honorable, let's go on to the substantive issues. Can you recollect that we have passed the affirmative action bill into law?
Yes, I affirm.
Honorable nominee, have you had a second look at that bill, or have you critically examined that law? Sorry.
Well, I was part of the making of that law. I contributed in making it. But after it has been passed, I haven't laid hands on it yet, so I haven't looked at it critically.
The reason why I'm asking you this question is that I want to create the awareness that you have a critical role to play in the implementation of the law. So, my humble advice, I don't think I'm going to further ask you any question. Some of the questions have already been put by but my humble advice is to take up the law again and then try and study it, because one of the things that we are pursuing to do is not to see the law as a mere document we will be lying on the shelves following. I think as early as this year, we should start the implementation, because the implementation has all kinds of... A question was put to you earlier on about how you can ensure that we have a balance in terms of employment, that we can have a balance in that. If you don't put on your gender lens, I don't think that particular question in which you answered will be achieved actions recorded or threatened by workers in the public sector. How do you intend to mitigate this frequent labor strikes actions in the country?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I've indicated, there are already laid down rules that you follow to tackle these challenges with organized labor. And we are going to follow those existing rules. We have key individuals who are well baked in these things. I'm going to work with them. I'm going to ensure that we understand ourselves. A key and major factor in addressing labor issues is to listen to them and to appreciate what they are asking for. And I think I have the composure to do so, to listen to them, to empathize with them, to go along with them, and to let them understand the realities of the times. And as Ghanaians, I know they understand that with the key reality of the kind of public sector we are running, and the fact that we assume, and by the existing laws in the Labor Act, and especially the Wages and Salaries Commission, we need to ensure that there is a match, as my honorable friend talked about. There's a match between production and then productivity. Sorry, what you produce and what you earn, there must be concordance. And so we are going to look at that. That's why I cherish the proposal that the Wages and Salaries Commission, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, should not just be called Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. I have a very seasoned labor activist, Mr. Gami, who proposed, and I do accept it, that rather than just calling it Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, we should talk about it as a bureau of productivity and enumeration and productivity. When you capture it in that sense, in accordance with the true concept of it, then you know that when you are going in for negotiation, you should be thinking about the fact that, yes, I have produced, but I must earn something. How much have I produced? How much am I going to earn? So that concordance is very important. That idea to match the two is critical. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, you know, I'm raising this issue again because on this floor, you are being put down as assuring us to deal with the issues. And you need to understand, that's why I came with that dimension, that you should look at the different dimensions of the issues that are at stake. You can relate it, work as against output and the revenues, but you have given an assurance. So I just want to draw your attention to the fact that it is very important that, as you have already indicated, you are going to have a very close working relationship with the Fair Wages. Honorable nominee, the Ghanaian job market is rapidly changing. It is now being driven by technological advancement and shifting business demands, climate change, and digital transformation will be needs for the labor market. To remain competitive, workers need to continuously improve their skills, while technical, vocational, educational, and training institutions need to align their training offer with the demands of the employers. Unfortunately, young people often still lack the required skills to find meaningful work. Honorable nominee, if given the nod, how will you collaborate with the Education Minister to ensure that graduates from tertiary institutions have the required skills for the job market? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it is true that technology has changed the face and structure of our workspace. Today, people are talking about the gig or gig, GIG, or working in absentia, which means that you are working and producing without necessarily being present in a particular space. Technology has produced all that. Various types of works are emerging. You see delivery, people doing delivery just by a phone call. You can get your food at your table and all that. So changes are occurring in the context and composition of the work we do. And so it demands that new changes will also have to be made in our laws. And that's why I agree on the possibility of having an employment deal that will recapture all these things that are emerging. The changes in our workspace, the technology that is emerging, AI technology and all other technologies, and the kinds of job situations, big data systems that are being run by new thinking, the new skills and all that. So it will demand a comprehensive view of it, and that will have a direct consequence on a law, a legal frame that will redefine our labor law. And it's something we are advocating for, to have an employment law. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. I realize that you have very much interest in the employment and the labor setting. Even looking at your background, I don't have any doubt at all why you were chosen as the minister. You have all the right exposure to do that. Honorable nominee, I have in my hand a letter of termination of employment from Passion Air without any good reason. And I believe this is happening in so many institutions in the country at the moment. Honorable Minister, I'm just asking if you will be interested, because you see, already we don't have jobs and people are being dismissed unwantedly. And it is very important that you also show some level of interest in ensuring that these people are not laid off without any no compensation or any payment of some what do you call it, gratuity of any kind. Thank you.
Honorable member, before you answer the question, our labor law has a provision for fair termination and unfair termination. So in the circumstances, looking at this letter, how would one be able to determine whether the termination in the circumstances is fair or is not fair under our own Labor Act?
Honorable Chair, I think I was only trying to indulge in. If you would be interested, it's a question of yes or no. Yes, it's not.
Honorable nominee,
thank you.
Will you be interested?
Honorable Chairman, I'll be very interested. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, there are a number of questions that I can put up to you, but you know that as we speak now, you have to, I know your capabilities and I don't want to, but you know all the labor issues. So I'd like to congratulate you for successfully attending to the House and answering your questions appropriately. So I wish you the best of luck and I wish you well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Deputy Minority Leader. Honorable Pelpuo, it's now my turn to ask you a question. And my question is, if there is one thing from you that I want to be part of me, is your patience. Congratulations. I will proceed to recognize and acknowledge our revered chiefs and opinion leaders who are here to give you moral support. First on my list is Abdullah Kasim Pelpuo, Kupahi Na Hashim Yakubu, Kunjihi na Alhaji Kabori, Zongo Chief Representative, Chairman Abdul Nasir Sani Bunas, Regional Chairman, Alhaji Nuras Isa Dawana, Deputy Regional Secretary, Alhaji Isaku Sadiq Famina, WA Central Chairman, Honorable Salifu Tama, Constituency Secretary, Hajia Rama Pelpuo, spouse of the nominee, Madam Gloria Botele North, Acting Chief Director, Labor Ministry, Madam Fusena Mata, former WA Central Women Organizer, Alhaji Ali Wunwana, businessman, Alhaji Moro Sadiq Kotia, businessman. You are welcome. Our honorable nominee, you surely hear from the committee. You are hereby discharged. Thank you for attending upon the committee. Our next nominee should take the seat.
Watch your favorite TV show in your palm.